a miracle, doc. They counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. I'm that dog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family that bang in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am planning to flee. Standing my ground, I am planting my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. Woo! What a weekend. We're here. We've got a lot to talk about. So excited to be with you tonight. Got Jamie, Carolyne here. Lots of buzz around the space with some announcements made this weekend. We had Legends, we had IF3, and a big announcement from the competitor to the CrossFit Games season, the WFP, and we'll kind of talk about that and what we think it sounds like, and is it viable? Is it something that we like? Does it get us excited? And then we'll go on from there. But first, how was your guys' weekend?
It was okay.
Still sore on the Lions loss?
Yes. I've just been trying to get the gym, like I bought rigging. I'm waiting on for that to come in. We're trying to like move some stuff. And so we've been at the gym for like 8 hours straight, both days. It's just annoying.
So are you upgrading stuff or just adding?
Got a new rig. So I'm waiting on that to ship, but, yeah, getting a different rig, and I already got turf. So I need to pull out the other turf and change where the turf is going.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Keeping everything in the same spots or?
Nope.
Mm-mm. Wow. That's really exciting.
Yeah. So the coolers, that's what we did today. The coolers that were up front when you walked in, those are back by the bathrooms now.
Okay.
Because that whole wall is going to be turf, like from the wall to the window. So that space. Yeah.
Wall.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's exciting.
90s hip hop coming in hard.
I just think of the proposal scene and Sandra Bullock in the forest.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting news.
Yeah. It's just stressful.
So Carolyne, do you have anything going on this week?
I went back home after school on Friday. I visited my family back in Sarnia. So got back this evening, did a little bit of schoolwork, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, this is kind of the calm before the storm for me. My family comes in next weekend. We're celebrating the holidays the weekend before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Julie and I will actually be alone, just the two of us on Christmas Day, which is going to be weird for us.
Sorry, I want like a song right now.
Yeah. So that's weird. So we watched a lot of like Christmas movies this weekend, and but I watched. Everybody had been wanting me to watch Across the Spider-Verse. So
Okay.
I'd watched Into the Spider-Verse. It's an animated Spider-Man that is, the first one was phenomenal. And everybody was telling me, you got to watch the second one. You got to watch, it's better than the first one. So I had a really slow day at work on Friday. So I just had it running while I was working. And it sucked me in really quick. And I was all there. But there's a third one. So it ends at this like climactic moment where like the hero is in trouble and they're not saved, and then it just ends. It says to be continued. And I was like, what the hell? Like, how do you do this to me? Like, I'm right there, and then it just stops, and I was like, no. And then I texted everybody that told me to watch it and said, you could have warned me. There's another one coming.
Yeah.
Not to like so yeah, Corey says Across the Spider-Verse is amazing. It was really amazing until the end. Craig says The Family Man is one of the best Christmas movies ever.
I agree. I love that movie. It's one of my favorites.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Oh my gosh, you're missing out.
It made me fall in love with Taya Leone when I was a younger man.
I haven't watched any Christmas movies yet, but Lex says that when I get to California this upcoming weekend, that we're gonna get me to watch a few movies.
So Julie and I have done like all the new Netflix movies. And I think tomorrow, because I'm going to start doing like a daily show at noon where any of you can jump on if you want and we're just going to chat. It may not be CrossFit related. It's just a hangout at lunchtime. And so I'm going to rate the Netflix Christmas movies tomorrow.
Okay.
Of what I thought was good, what I thought was bad. And then we watched Red One.
That's what I was going to say.
Last night. Was it last night?
I think it was.
Well, you and I were texting.
I think it was 2 nights ago because we were texting about it last night. Yeah.
Yeah. Red One became available for free on Prime, and it is the Rock version of a Christmas movie with Chris Evans, who's Captain America. Man, it could have been so cool. But just
that seems to be the consensus. Yeah.
It's like it dipped its toe into the water of being an 80s action movie. And if it would have just kept going that way, it would have been awesome. And it tried to have more of a dramatic story behind it, I think. And it made it fall a little bit short. But like when the snowmen, like army came after them and they were fighting them, it was one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen. But yeah. It was fun. It was a fun movie. Like I wouldn't say don't watch it, but it was one that I probably won't watch year after year.
Okay. Fair enough.
You know, you have that like tier of Christmas movies. There's the ones like Christmas Vacation and Elf and all those ones that you watch every year. And then you have like ones that are like a one-timer. And this was a one-timer.
Okay.
So, but tomorrow I'll go through all the Netflix ones and tell you what I liked and what I didn't like.
All right.
And I'm kind of sappy, so just know that going in. So
Scott's got like Hallmark Channel movies #1.
I am so this is getting really deep, but my dad loved Hallmark movies. Like when he retired and before he passed away, like he just loved Hallmark movies, Christmas or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I would go to visit them, we would watch Hallmark movies and just chat. And so they have this like nostalgic thing for me that it just reminds me of my time with my dad. I don't watch a ton of the Hallmark ones, but my mom and I will watch them occasionally when I go visit her. And I've watched a few of them this year, but not most of them have been like just the Netflix original ones.
Yeah,
which I find to be a little higher production.
Yeah, I agree.
Than the Hallmark ones. So there you go. There's my sappy story. So I think that's it. We're getting into like some new sports seasons. All day today they've been advertising USC versus Connecticut next week's prime time Saturday night. Paige Buckets versus Juju. Did
you see the 3-on-3 undisputed? I think it's called Undisputed League. Like the girl's salary is going to be like $260,000 a year, something like that, which is like huge difference from their WNBA salaries.
Yeah, so there's a male version of that too, and I think it's owned by Ice Cube.
Yeah, because that version was trying to get Caitlin Clark last year to play, but she wouldn't have gained anything from going.
No.
Wouldn't have been
That's
good.
a lot of money to me. I don't know about to them. But yeah, that's got to be tempting. But the other thing is you don't want to maybe like you played a different sport every season, but to play the same sport season after season, that and repeating that muscle activity over and over again, your body has to rest from that, right?
Yep. Which is why I think she's not playing at Caitlin Clark, because she went from university all the way into her rookie season and probably just needs to have a break.
Yeah. It's tough enough with the college season butting right up against the WNBA season. So you go from the college playoffs right into pro basketball with no break, and it showed like when Caitlin took the All-Star break off, she actually got a little bit of rest and she started to play better after. So yeah. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We're going to get into some new stuff because football's coming to an end.
All the bowl games are coming.
Yeah. And the first year of the 12-team playoff.
And then Travis Hunter won Heisman.
He did. I think that's awesome. If you can go two ways that long and that much in a game, you deserve some kudos for that. And to play at the level he plays at.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen draft experts say he's top 5 at both positions.
Wow.
So but he'll only play one in the NFL. They'll just pick which one they want him at. So, all right. Well, let's dive into this CrossFit stuff. And we're going to start with Wodapalooza, which has started to announce people attending Wodapalooza this year, both individually and on a team. And please note, this is as of today. In my years of experience of watching Wodapalooza, they make these announcements. Something happens between now and then. Mm-hmm. Some people will have to withdraw, but this is what they have for commitments at this point. So, or what they have announced as commitments. And these are not me. There we go. Okay. So, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. There we go. So you can see we have Pat Vellner as the first announcement, Danny Spiegel and James Sprague. We have Ariel Lowen, all individual. We have Ricky Garrard. Then they started to announce teams. You have the Broadway girls, which is Brooke Wells, Haley Adams, and Sydney Wells. The boys, Chandler Smith, Travis Mayer, and Noah Olson. You have Alexis Raptis, PJs, Jeff Adler, Jason Hopper, and Patrick Vellner. Guy Majeros, Laura Horvat.
Her first time, I think, doing Wodapalooza.
She did it as a team a couple years ago when I was there.
But like individual, though. I don't think I've ever seen her do individual.
Nick Matthew. The Relight Salt Bays, which is Emily Rolfe, Alex Kazan, and Ariel Lowen.
Nice.
Annika Greer, Travis Mayer. The OGs, Victoria Campos, Caitlin Van Zyl, and Sarah Sigmundsdottir. Brooke Wells going individual as well. Jeff Adler going individual as well. The Yeti Outcasts, Danielle Brandon, Emma Lawson, Shelby Neal. I do have to admit, this one caught me off guard a bit.
Same.
This was not the threesome I saw coming together.
No, didn't have that on my bingo card.
And that's what they've announced at this point in the season. But even though that one shocked me, it's a hell of a team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be a good team.
They all have like different strengths, I think.
Yep.
And I think that's going to be interesting. So, anything from that list stick out to you other than that last team kind of catching you off guard?
I think also nice to see Jeff at Wodapalooza individually. I don't think I've seen him much, and so it's nice. Him, Ricky, Pat, James on the men's side, I think that have been announced. Guy, like there's some solid names there, some good competition.
Yeah, I've seen Jeff there a ton on a team. Never seen him individually in the years that I was there personally, and since. So that's Laura, I think, is huge. Laura competing will bring others to want to compete against her, I think.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see the individual field. I kind of thought there was another. Didn't Nick Johnson reveal another team on his interview he did?
I didn't get through that one yet.
I feel like I don't know. I can't remember who it was.
Like a Ricky team?
I don't remember if it was a boys or a girls team. Or if he said both. Colton's going, isn't he? I know he's not on that list, but maybe Colton said he wasn't going, that he's done like enough traveling and too many comps and he was gonna. Yeah, I do.
Kenneth said it was a random girl team. I
think so too. And I just can't think of it.
Now that Beck said this, Olivia, Danny, and another, and I forgot the third.
They'll win the lifting complex or whatever that would be.
And the third is in that same vein.
Yeah.
Like a Kelsey Keel or something. Someone super strong. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Shoot.
I know.
I know I heard it.
Just put like the three just strong girls together.
I should have written it down when he was on.
Yeah.
Danny, Olivia, and
it was a good interview though. Worth a watch.
Most of my watching interviews and stuff like that is either while I'm working and it's hard to stop what I'm doing to that's what it's Kyra.
Yep.
Also very, very strong.
Yeah. Good job, Craig. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about, it's Danny Spiegel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kyra's proven, Olivia is proven, but Danny's not. But there's adding.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's most of my listening to that stuff is either at work or in bed. So it's hard for me to stop and take notes. Sometimes I do, if I've already started our rundown document, I will pull my phone up and add a piece to if I hear it. Like something we're going to talk about with Bethany Flores later in the show. Like I did that last night. Something I saw. So, but yeah, Wadapalooza. And this is the first year in Miami Beach. Mm-hmm. So the bigger the names, the better with the new location and the bigger venue. So hopefully that will entice people to come and pay for tickets and sell that place out. Because I know it's got to be scary moving locations. Because Bayfront was a pretty sweet spot. It had outgrown that so much.
Yeah, I hope this runs a little smoother and goes well for vendors, and hopefully the weather cooperates.
Yeah, that's the big one, is the weather.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have a couple stage that are just covered. Like they have to have that consideration.
Yeah.
Or a vendor area that is covered.
Yes.
Some place to go to that is covered.
Yeah, which would help the vendors, because then if there isn't great weather, at least everyone's in vendor village.
Right. I think it's sometimes even we in the media, but especially our competition organizers forget that the vendors are a very important part. Without them, you don't have the money to make a prize purse or to do a live stream or to do, and you have to make the vendors happy. And it seems like a lot of the competitions, not all, but a group of the competitions are just increasing vendor fees to try to get more money instead of working with the vendors to make them happy and make a better vendor village.
Totally agree.
And we've talked about this with athletes. Like instead of trying to get more athletes and more spectators to watch those athletes, we're just charging the athletes more.
Yep.
And that doesn't grow the sport. It's just sucking on the same cow teat for milk.
Yep.
Over and over and over again, just squeezing harder. I don't know where that analogy came from because I am not a farmer, but it's there. But yeah, all the best to them and the move to Miami Beach, because I think that's going to be crazy. I guess next up we have the big news. The big news is the World Fitness Project has announced a layout of a season. Still need quite a few details, but I will pull up their Instagram post. We'll go through it. I want to get your impressions on it, whether you think it's good, bad, or indifferent. And And here we go. Okay. So I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit so we can kind of see it. Hopefully that all stays in screen. All right. So the WFP is excited to launch a new competitive fitness league in 2025 with over 500 athletes at each competition. Our structure brings athletes of different skill levels together to compete alongside one another. So at first glance, when I'm reading this, I'm thinking that their in-person events are going to be more community events than just an elite event.
Yeah.
Is that what you get from this?
I mean, it has to be. Like, when you're talking 500 athletes, like, that's basically what was at the Masters Games with the teams. I mean, that's a ton of divisions, a ton of, I don't know what they're,
they need to generate revenue. Like, they have to invite lots of divisions. They need that money. Like, you can't just start the first year and just think that just the pros will make it happen, like fan base. And because as soon as those athletes are competing, then they're sitting in the audience. Like, it adds more people to the competition.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I heard speculation that this was, I feel like it was Tyler who thought they'd be backing off of other comps already in production. But I feel like if you're going to say this, you have a plan for your own competition.
Or they're partnering with a competition. So, like, we haven't seen Granite Games in a couple years.
Yeah.
Why couldn't Loud and Live partner with this group and say, hey, we're bringing back Granite Games and we're bringing back Madrid? A European competition and an American competition. And both of those events have already been community events.
Yeah, I don't know if they had 500 people there.
Well, the last Granite Games that was a semifinal, there was definitely more than 500 people overall.
Yeah, they've always had like almost thousands at theirs. Granite Game was always one of the more successful competitions.
I mean, I remember there being a lot, but I don't know. I don't know. Compared to Legends and the Masters Games, I don't know that I've seen fields that big.
I know that the numbers they were throwing around were over 500 for the last semifinal. So, but they also, Loud Live also runs Wadapalooza. They know how to run a community event, right? So they could definitely pull that off. They have the infrastructure already in place to do that. And they have relationships in Minnesota and in Madrid. That's just a guess on my part. We have no details of where these are going to be or what they're going to look like. So professionals, the pro division is comprised of 20 signed male and female athletes and 10 challenger qualifiers. Pro athletes will compete for points throughout the season to lock down a top 20 ranking and earn their pro card for the 2026 season. So one question I threw out to you guys the other day is, how do you pick the 20 male and 20 female athletes that get the automatic signing?
Exactly.
Now, from that point forward, it's not going to make any difference because you're going to have to compete for it.
Right.
And you're going to have to earn points. And then you're going to have these 10 challengers that every live competition can do the qualifier. If they get in as the top 10, they come in and they compete with the other 20. So there's 30 in the field. And then they can earn more points than the 20 and become a pro carded athlete instead of the 20 that were already signed.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, in my mind, I feel like this needs to be, if you're going to sign on with them, if you chose to be this year's backbone of this pro athlete, I feel like it needs to be this is my personal opinion. I obviously nothing to this, but I think you need to be a sole WFPE athlete. That's it.
They've already said it's not going to be.
I don't think you have to be a soul.
I mean, if there's someone's throwing a bunch of money at this and they're trying to back this, then those athletes that do this,
like, I think it would be dumb of them to compete at the same time as the regular season, like put their major events in conflict with the CrossFit Games season. I think the more athletes can do competitions, whether it's the games and this, it's better for their own personal brand, their experience, stuff like that. I don't think people need to be forced to just do this.
When we get further into this, I'll have my idea. And so there is a point where I do agree with Jamie, and there's a point where right now that I agree with Carolyne.
It's too early to do it, to make them choose.
That's my point.
Like you wouldn't be able to, like, you don't know enough about it. People wouldn't, jump ship right away. Like
I don't know. I think they might already have their 20 athletes, and they might be people who are already not willing to do the open.
But I've heard
I'm sure that and that's fine too.
They have been asked, is this exclusive or not? And they were told it's not. And that's why people are signing.
Okay.
So, because there's no prize money announced on any of this stuff, right? We don't know what the contracts are. I've also heard the contracts work where if you win prize money, so the contract is just your floor. That is the least amount of money you can make in the season, but your winnings offset that contract amount. So it's basically like they're signing you to a guarantee of $10,000 for the season. But if you win $30,000, that 10 goes away and you just take the 30. So it's more of like, instead of, hey, we're paying you this amount of money and then whatever happens, it's, hey, this is the least amount you can get paid for the season. If that makes sense. Yeah. But that's a rumor. That is not on any official document.
I mean, it's got to pay for travel and entry to these comps.
Yeah. What's a guarantee that you're not going to lose money, right? If you know that this is what I have in my budget to get to these events, then you're in a better shape than you've been in the past, of where you're just forking over your own money and hoping that you win something to offset that.
Yeah.
So then the challengers are athletes striving to earn a pro card for the 26th season. By competing in tour events, challengers can earn points via the pro or challenger field to secure a spot in the finals and contend for a top 20 ranking in a pro contract. So it sounds like the top 10 from the qualifier go and they get to compete in the pro division, and they will compete against the pros. And my guess is earn even more points than they could, because there's going to be a contender division right below that at this event as well, where those people will compete for points, but it's going to be a lower denomination of points. But they can put it in their bank. So when they go, if they do qualify for the next one, they have some to add on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I love the challenger aspect of it. It'll make it exciting.
Competitors are broken into age groups, skill level, and team categories. To participate, competitors sign up for their respective category to compete and earn their spot at the World Fitness Finals. So there are masters or maybe even teens. We don't know. There are going to be teams with an M, and then different skill levels throughout that you can compete at, just like Wadapalooza has a few different levels, right? Beginner, intermediate, you can compete at when you go there. And then this is kind of the way the season works out. You have your first challenger event, which is your qualifier to get in. The top 20 that are paid athletes don't have to participate in this, just everybody else. Then you find your top 10 and everybody else can compete in the challenger piece up. And I'm assuming it's like 11 to 30 or 11 to 40 or something like that. And then the first live event is World Fitness Tour 1. Those 10 from the qualifier will compete against those 20 paid athletes to earn points against them. And then it just repeats itself. And then they have the World Fitness Trials, which that part, I have no idea what it is. There is no explanation really what that is, but it is a 1 month long 3-stage online event. And then you have the World Fitness Finals. And I'm assuming that is the top X number of point getters from the other 2 events will then compete for the championship and to make the top 20 to get their pro card for the next season. Any thoughts on any of this?
Well, there's missing like some details, obviously.
Oh, of course.
Like we don't know where, we don't know how many are at each of these things, how the points like accumulate. Like if you take part in the first part of the online challenger, and let's say you take part in the first tour and you accumulate a lot of points because you finished, I don't know, top 15 there. Let's say you skip out on the challenger too. Like, would you still have enough points that you can, that you've combined? Like, let's say you got top 10 at the tour 1 from a challenger position. Is that enough points to automatically qualify you for the tour 2 as like a challenger? If not every challenger repeats the online part, like I just don't know like that part. Or if like the athletes that signed up for the first part of the qualifier, if only those athletes can do
the entire season,
if you can go in and out at different points. Because like, let's say someone's injured and they are in the top 10 challenger. Well, the next person up will be in there for the second online portion. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like.
So in my head, I have the golf structure, right? So when the US Open comes around, the week before the US Open, there's a qualifier. And if you do not have your tour card to just sign up for the US Open, you can play in this qualifier. And if you're the top, whatever the slots they have available, you try to get one of those slots at the qualifier and you can get in. Golf works on a world ranking where you earn points throughout the PGA season. And then based on that ranking is the tour card for the next year. So in the PGA, now they have way more events than this, and it is way more established than this. Tiger Woods did not play in everything because the majors were worth more points than just going to like the Akron Open, right? And so he would pop in and out of events throughout the year, but he would always hit the 4 majors to make sure he'd get enough points to like keep his world ranking and all of those things. I don't think we have enough events to pop in and out yet.
Yeah.
But I think that is the plan. The plan would be to probably expand this out a little bit over after a few years of like proof of concept. And then you'd be able to say, hey, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to earn my points. And I think I can earn enough in those spots to keep my tour card or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like I wish it was a sliding scale the whole time. Like, so say whoever's 20th signed athlete is just like meh, and whoever is the first place challenger out of this challenger goes to World Fitness Tour 1 and takes 5th overall out of all 30. I would almost rather see like the top 20 out of that stay the top 20 for the next, continue on. Because like what I feel like that's sort of what Carolyne asked. Like, what if you got first as a challenger? Are you?
I think contractually that would be a mess. Because right now you can sign a 1-year contract that this is your guarantee. This is what you get. If you switched every comp to what those 20 were and had to switch the contract, can you imagine the paperwork and the personnel just responsible for all of that?
Like, I think the top 20 stays the top 20 in terms of their pro card. They're automatically invited to Tour 1, Tour 2, Tour in the finals. What I was saying is, as a challenger, could you have enough points if you got a top 5, let's say, in tour 1, that you could skip tour 2, come back and get a lot of points like on the online ones, or keep, still maintain enough that you could still qualify for the finals. Like, I guess like that part still
I feel like it'd
determine
be really
whether
hard.
like you have to do all 3 stages of the online as a challenger, plus possibly tour 1, tour 2. Because like if you're a challenger, you're now doing 3 onlines and possibly 3 in person. So like my question is, as a challenger, can you skip one if you accumulate certain amount of points?
I mean, it's only 10 spots. I don't see how you could.
Yeah, you can't really.
Well, we'd have to know what the points are, right? Right now, we don't know what the points are. If you are a challenger and you go to Pro or World Fitness 1 and you win it and you get the max number of points for winning that event, you may be able to skip the next one and still have enough points in the bank to qualify for the finals. But we don't know any of that because we don't know what the point structure is. We don't know how to earn points. We don't know the gap between like winning and whatever, because it doesn't have to be like a typical 100-point scale. It could be that a win is 500 points and the gaps are a little bit bigger from like podium to next to. We'd have to see what all that structure is. And then I think then it becomes a strategic thing. Can I get enough points where I don't have to compete in every event?
Well, then I look at like the chart and it says, 10 qualify to, to the tour, 10 qualify to the tour. Now this one is open to all. And am I cutting in and out with my internet?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, sorry. The open to all, like, can people that haven't done qualifier 1 and qualifier 2 enter that trials, which is kind of like, your Olympic trials last chance qualifier type thing? Because it does say open to all. So like, I don't know if people can skip qualifier 1 and 2 and just enter the World Fitness trials, qualify through that month, and make it to the finals.
I would say yes. But again, that one has the least amount of information. Yeah, that trials thing, there's no information in any of this about that specific piece.
Are the top 10 challengers getting their way paid to these events? Especially if I feel like this needs to start locally. And I mean, that narrows it down, but like, if you're saying like Granite Games might be one and Madrid might be one, I don't know who you're expecting out of those 10 challengers to travel over to Madrid.
That was just a guess on my part. I have no inside information.
You're not the first one to bring that up, and I just think that's crazy to like ask these people just trying to make a name for themselves to travel overseas. And like, I mean, it is World Fitness project. I feel like they might be trying to go internationally. I just think I
think what changes is you're not just trying to make a name for yourself. You're trying to become a legit pro athlete with a guaranteed salary.
Yeah. I guess once we know more points wise, maybe you can be like certain of yourself enough to make it make sense to travel for the first one. But I don't know. I think that's a big outlay.
Yeah, it's very expensive for the athletes that aren't sponsored, basically. Like when I put myself in this position as a challenger, like if I have to travel to, X, Y, and Z internationally while having my full-time job, I mean, I guess that's why I wouldn't get a pro card. Like it's just like you gotta be pro to go like full-time, but like it's not really salaries of full-time. You know what I mean? Like I'm not quitting my job for 10 grand. Maybe a young university girl that doesn't work, this is enticing,
And I think
a minimum of a certain amount, but
more than 10 grand.
Yeah. We don't know, but
yeah, but here, so that's a negative, and I'll give you that. I would say a positive though is because of these online qualifiers, say you don't want a pro card, but you still want to compete at the highest level. You can still go to this online qualifier and you can go compete at World Fitness Tour 1 because it's near you and it's not a big expense, and you can take your shot. right? Anybody in the world can sign up for this thing. And if you're one of the top 10, you get a crack at it. Because I like in the golf tour, like there's former NFL players that try to get to play in the US Open. Like they'll go to one of these qualifiers and just try to take their shot to get one opportunity to play on the big stage.
No, I like this idea, like the challenger idea, like there's the tour stuff. There's just not enough details right now to know enough. Then like it's like who's reviewing the videos, who's programming for these things? Is it a group of people? Will these workouts be known? Will they be unknown like our sport has been? Like I have questions with that part just because of the leaks that happen on the CrossFit Games side of things.
I want to say this because I want this on record of my opinion is this is the first time in following CrossFit where I see a legit logical season for the first time ever. This actually got me excited. And I know there's a lot of details missing and I want to know what those details are. But at this point, like I've seen this structure work in tennis and in golf and auto racing and things like that, where there's a point system and you try to earn points to get your pro card. And
I think the pro card is important though. Like, it's like, I don't think if like as a pro athlete, you should have to do like most of these qualifiers, like you've established yourself as a pro that you should be able to get some sort of bypass, at certain stages. So like, I like this idea for those athletes. Like, I think that's good. And it's at least a 1-year thing. You earn yourself through the prior year of playing. Like, you earn your contract as any type of pro athlete, like from the previous year of playing. Whether you perform well the following year is, whatever, like you got your contract based off your previous performance. And I think that makes sense.
And you get to skip parts of the season because you've earned that right. And you get a contract, which is pretty freaking awesome. Now, there's a lot of questions behind this, like where's the money coming from? Do they have the money to sustain this? Can it sustain year over year? But what the one piece I'm excited about is it's like we keep trying to make the CrossFit season fit what we loved that worked, but we couldn't afford. And we're just trying to make like the square pegs fit in the round holes all the time. This is like a complete detachment of going in a different direction, going, here is something that makes sense. You can follow it from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. You can follow a points leaderboard to know like who the top 20 athletes are, who's on the cusp, who's fighting for that player or that pro card. Like I think it adds a lot of excitement.
I agree. I hope it works.
Last night on Savant, Brian Spin made a comment, and I like Brian. Like, he is my source for news. I watch the Spin every Wednesday, but he said like he couldn't see people watching the same athletes comp after comp. That's what tennis is. That's what golf is. That's what
I don't think it's going to be the same athletes. You're going to get new challengers that are going to be there, and it's only 1 year. It's not year after year. It's only those top 20 pro cards are going to change every single year.
Agree.
Quite a bit, actually.
And in the game season, we're watching Matt Fraser win 5 times in a row. We're watching Tia Toomey win 7 times. Like, and people still show up to the games to watch that. Jamie, you have thoughts? I can see.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's not enough money in our sport to. I love the idea of this. I love that we want to give a pro card and give people money and they earn their spot, but I don't know that our sport can handle that model, like especially just for 20 athletes. My issue with this is like, what if what if Roman is challenger number 2 and falls in at tour 1 and breaks his foot again and he's out? Like,
Next man up.
is it though? Now you've paid him for the whole year and he has that 20 spot for the whole year. And
if he's not able to compete at the next comp, next challenger's up.
Right.
So
But
you
he's
got 19 pro
contract.
and you got 11 challengers until he makes it back. His spot will be guaranteed on the next in-person competition if he's okay. If he's not, then you're having 11 challengers. And if he doesn't get enough points that year, he could be at a risk of losing his pro card and having to fight for it the following year.
I just think our sport is too, like, I would rather see you, like, whatever, pick the first 20 for the first event, get your challengers, but I would rather see money go to the 10 challengers, get them there, and like follow the season that way. Like, pay people's way to events, pay people to get there. I mean, essentially sponsor all the athletes who have proven their way to be physically active at this event.
I think it takes away the incentive of the pro card. The pro card has to mean something. And you've earned that through, other than this first year, you have earned that right through competition to be the top 20 athlete in the next season, to only have to show up at the live events. And if you can't, then there's a backfill into, just like Rafael Nadal has to withdraw from the French Open. The next person in the world rankings gets a shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like that. And then he won't get any points for that event and probably will have a good chance of losing that pro card for the following season.
Yeah, you see it in tennis all the time. A number 1 can be injured, misses a bunch of comps. We know they're the best in the sport, but their ranking has gone down because they haven't accumulated those points. They got to fight for it back.
Yeah, those people are all getting paid to go there and getting their way paid to get there. And
are they? Is the pro card going to be all paid for the athletes, you think?
I think it's just that you get that whatever that sum is as a budget for the year. And now you can choose to use that to pay to get you there, but that's your money for the year. Again, like, this is just the beginning. Think of it this way. If you can actually get a sport that people understand, that actually has a structure for the season and people actually follow, that will actually get more money into the sport. Maybe people that have given up on a sport that changes its season every year, and the way to get to the CrossFit Games every year is saying, hey, I'm going to bet on this one with an actual structure. And I'm not saying every sponsor is going to do that, but I'm sure there's a handful.
And like, the more I look at this, the open to all, like, I think do you think the pros do that one as well? When it says open to all?
Again, that's the one I have no clue.
I kind of doubt that they need to do that one.
But if they need more points to solidify their top 20, it could be a way to I'm just thinking the open to all versus 10 to qualify, 10 to qualify, like that open to all, just, I don't know.
That's the one we really need more information on.
I
do
mean,
want to pull up a couple comments. Clock says a Saudi prince recently joined the executive board of the IF3. I'm wondering if he's pushed some money into the WFP. That's a very interesting statement and something that I have no clue about, but it'd be nice for some Saudi prince money to come into the sport.
for sure.
Stephen Tackett says, what is the number one most important thing about WFP that needs to happen to make it successful? They need to be smart with their money.
Yeah.
And they need to keep a structure that people understand.
And they need a way for people to watch it. Like, the media is going to be really important.
Agree.
Yeah, media.
Because you need people there to see it, whether they're there or at home. Like, if the stands are empty, like, it's not going to work.
The rumor is that they have been given a chunk of money. They need to make that chunk last as long as it can last to prove that this can work.
I mean, I would say you need like the top athletes to make it legitimate, but I don't know. IF3 seems to be doing okay. Like, and I would not say they have the best athletes there.
Are they doing okay though? Or are they more just European-is? I don't know if they're doing like
they're not getting the stream watches that, quite frankly, Brian Friend gets on some other comps.
I mean, they're having comps in bigger venues with a stream with prize purse. I would say that's somewhat successful. And it's not a 1 or a 2 year thing. They don't not pay their athletes. They don't say we didn't get enough vendors here and we can't pay this year and sorry.
It's not as successful as I think it could be. Like, you're not actually getting the best athletes there, besides like Norway, who actually send like legit athletes there. Like USA, Canada, like it's not our top athletes that are there.
And why do you think that is? Like, because I watched it today and I saw there was like 5 US athletes at that comp. Like,
it's a bastardization of CrossFit.
Is it that, or is it because it's international and it doesn't, like, that's expensive?
So I think that, to be fair to the IF3, where we are strong in North America is that they are diving into colleges and universities for teams, and that's where their growth is going to be, right? Because it's primarily more of a team concept, like country versus country, as opposed to individual versus individual. It's more of like their goal is to eventually be an Olympic sport. And so they are restricted by the rules of the Olympic Committee to make this an Olympic sport.
But I like their idea of their workouts and like they're announcing it's like you have a skill workout, you have a gymnastics workout, you have an endurance, speed or power, whatever it is. Like, I think there's something with that's marketable for like the Olympic Committee and stuff like that. It's interesting. It's just not getting the recognition of, the CrossFit Games and the fittest on earth and that title.
So let me ask you this. If it becomes an Olympic sport, does it, and you're now doing it for your country and to be able to walk into that Olympic stadium, do you think some of the more fit athletes would then invest in it?
1000%. If it's going to the Olympics, for sure.
I mean, I feel like you automatically get sponsored if you're representing your country. Like, this is the thing. Like, people need to be their expenses covered to get to these events.
Right. So, but I think you're thinking of sponsorship in the current format where you have to be an influencer and you have to be all this other stuff. If we actually had a sport that had a season that made sense, that people would follow, people would start rooting for athletes because of what they do, not because of what they post.
But you're not going to get an Olympic sport of this when we have no amateur leagues. Like, you look at any type of sport that is at the Olympics, like there's actual amateur leagues of that, and young kids can do it, and then they can do it like throughout their whole lives, and then you get the professionals that go to the Olympics and whatnot. Like, you don't have that for CrossFit.
True. I think there's some clubs forming, but I don't think and like I said, IF3 is diving into the college and university scene, but it has not gone down to like high school or like little league style stuff or club sports for younger athletes.
They must somewhat do that internationally, because it sounded like they had 12 and 13-year-olds at this IF3.
I know they have gone younger than CrossFit.
Yeah. I heard them this morning say they did their podiums for the 12 and 13-year-olds yesterday.
But in Norway, functional fitness is an Olympic sport or whatever. They are endorsed by the country and are subsidized to train. And that's why Norway sends all the big athletes there, because they're doing it to get those subsidies to subsidize their training for the rest of their season. I'm not sure we are getting that anytime soon in the US.
Yeah.
So final question. So we have vague information about the WFP. Yay or nay, or wait to see what's coming?
Wait to see.
I mean, I'm a yay right now, but there's still a lot to see. But
yeah, I'm a can't wait to see what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this actually
there's a lot.
Have me very excited.
It could be exciting. I just think there's a ton more information that we need. I like
on both sides.
This is quite the teaser.
This and the CrossFit Games. Like we don't know anything about anything right now.
Yep.
All right. So get us back to what's going on. In the news this week was that Jason Hopper made an announcement that he is leaving HWPO and headed to Brute with Coach L. Any thoughts on that?
I cringe at those type of things, like the announcements. Like it's like those high school athletes that are like, I'm gonna put this hat on, no this one. I'm like, I don't care. Just announce whatever you want to do. Like I always like cringe at those type of, ooh, let me give you the jersey. Ooh, let's look at it. It's Brute. Like it's too much for me. I find it's cringy. But it's cool that he's pursuing another program, trying something else out, seeing how he can develop. I think that'll be a good fit for him.
He's not moving. It's like I could see the appeal there, and I feel like him and Dalen have built a bit of a bromance, but I feel like the move would be to like actually go and train with Dalen, and I don't know, maybe that would be too much, too intense, so maybe that wouldn't be great. But I guess I'm curious, is there like some plan of like sharing workouts and leaderboards to gauge fitness throughout the year? Like what? I don't know. Like there's got to be a thought process behind this, that you want to go and work with this coach.
Well, I think that their reputation speaks for them, like for itself. The last couple of years, they've had extremely successful athletes, both on the females and male side. Like last year, or not this year, but the last year, they had almost all their semifinal athletes make it to the games. This year they have top athletes. So I think being curious about what's going on in that, type of programming caught Jason's eye, and he's looking for something new. Like once you've finished high twice now, like I think 7th the 1 year and 4th this past year, he might just be needing a little motivation. And this is a little spark to kind of re-get him excited about training and new things versus the same type of programming that you've done. I think it could be good. I don't think he even needs to compare himself really to Dalen. I think he's just trying to, be a sponge and learn from different types of programming. Like he basically said that he's learned what he needed to learn from, hard work pays off. And I'm sure he's learning a lot through JR, and he's going to go and grab whatever he likes from this other group and see from there.
When in a related story, Jake Marconi announced that he is no longer coaching elite athletes.
Yeah.
And that he is taking over HWPO Strong and moving back to Connecticut to be with his family.
And that could have played a part in the role too. If
yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, I wonder if they had that talk that Marconi was going to be wrapping up and where Jason's place really would be. I am curious if Danielle Brandon and Jason will. Although she's in Florida, isn't she?
Nashville.
Oh, she is in Nashville. It's a little far, but
So
they seem to have a pretty good relationship too.
yeah, I think so I met Coach L at Masters Games, and I loved talking to him. He was so easy to talk to, such a nice guy, super laid back compared to like a lot of coaches. Like does not get like overly excited about anything. He's super calm, and maybe that he's just looking for something like that, like just that calming voice on game day. Because I mean that's what Coach L is.
Where is he out of?
Louisiana.
Does he have his own gym? Like
I don't know. Because most of his athletes are remote, if not all.
Right.
I first got to know him when Matt Poulin was one of our all access athletes, and and he was Matt Poulin's coach.
Oh.
And he trained Matt to then become a brute coach.
Oh.
So
is that what Matt's doing right now?
I know he's doing that part of his day.
Okay. Good for him.
Yeah.
So Brooke is transferring over to the We Prefer the Hate under JR. Is that what?
I did not see that.
That seems.
She tagged that on her story tonight.
That's
on Instagram or today or tonight. I don't know which one.
See, and I feel like Jason enjoyed when Brooke was in town and they worked out together. I feel like that would have been a good path to go down.
Yeah, like we've seen like the male and female combinations that work better versus like him going to train with Dallin and having that direct competition the entire year. And I think the male and female competition is different, and they can mutually help each other and give each other pointers, and without it being as defeating sometimes.
Yeah.
But if
I
you
mean,
go
I
to
think she's just like
go to the bottom of that.
Okay. Oh, there it is. We prefer the hate.
I wouldn't say I don't know. I think she's just kind of trying to support JR. I think she probably has a lot of respect for JR, and if you can use your platform to help prop somebody up, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But also won't be surprised if she does make a switch.
I just get the feeling like HWPO is moving out of the elite athlete.
It seems that way, right?
And focusing more on the day-to-day athlete.
And opening up other sports, golf, strength. Yeah. And if they can get deep enough into golf, there's a lot of money there, and that could support them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because they had that whole facility built for like their athletes to go and
it doesn't even get used.
And all of those big banners with Jason Hopper and Katrin and a lot of their athletes, and a lot of them are not there now or are retired.
Yeah. Crazy.
It is crazy.
And all those special rigs that are just like a regional rig or a semifinal rig or a games rig, so you don't. Wow. That was a huge. Well, I'm sure Rogue helped them out because Matt was a Rogue athlete, was he not? Speaking of Rogue athletes.
Yeah. I don't know if he was.
No, it was just, I don't know if he was Rogue.
I don't think he was.
I don't think so either. Just Nike and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see Tyson's shirt.
Chicago Bear backup quarterback Tyson Bagent has a new shirt out from Rogue. Too bad it's not blue and orange, but it's nice.
Yeah, it was a cool shirt.
I guess I just assumed that because Matt was always here at Rogue for things. And it used to be you could just run down to Rogue and like watch the athletes work out back in the day, and that was fun. So, and we'll speed this up a little bit because we're running a little bit long. Bethany Shadbird Flores in her first Hyrox and was caught off guard. If you watch her YouTube video about it, she did finish 8th overall, first in her age group at a 108 for her by herself. She said that she had no clue where to go during the transitions. And so it made her transitions a little slow.
I think it's very clearly put out. I think sometimes that's excuses.
Yeah, people say. I mean, I have heard people
It's
say
very
they need an extra lap, but
everyone I've seen is pretty clear. Like there's huge blow-ups. Station 1, Station 2, station like it's not confusing. When I entered, like it looked confusing, and then when I'm like, this is stupid easy. Like you just go to that station. Like it's really not that difficult to understand.
I think the part that surprised me in her statements were that she was not prepared for all the running, and she's
one of
the best runners in the sport.
Her time is a great time though.
Yeah, I mean, what was Christy like 106 when she did her?
I think she did 104.
104. 108's excellent.
That's a great time.
Yeah, she just said she was cramping up after it was over, not during, but like after it was over, she just was not prepared for it all and was definitely feeling it after the event.
You definitely have to train for it.
Yeah, she said she did not. She just kept doing her normal training. Peter Benoit said, it's dicey if you haven't done one before. You do have to think there is no one telling you where to go. It's up to you.
I mean, you have I did one and it's a big blow up, and I don't think it's very difficult at all to know you're going station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't think it's difficult.
I mean,
maybe to count your own laps and be like, oh, I have to think about if I've done 1 or 2, but then you look at the big screen and you can see like what you've done. I really don't think it's that difficult.
Yeah.
Well, in addition to
that, especially not for like a games athlete that would have experience competing. Maybe if you're someone that's never done any competition, I could see that part. But someone with like high level experience in CrossFit can figure it out very, very fast. And if you can't, do
you just go to the first open wall ball target or the first open?
Yeah, you go you make your way to the end of the line. Like you enter the zone and you go all the way to the next line that's open. And then people fill in, and then you go out.
Okay. Well, in addition to this, Tia and James Newberry did a duo competition in Melbourne where they took 3rd overall and posted the fastest time ever for a CrossFit couple.
Duo.
Yeah.
Rumors starting now.
I think everybody knows. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, because Christy did a very, very fast one. I think like a minute slower than that one with her partner a couple weeks ago. She was like 56, I want to say.
And you said in our Jay Crouch and Maddie did also broke an hour. So CrossFitters killing the Hyrox world. Yeah. Corey Leonard said that Brandon Luckett ran 6 extra laps because he didn't know where the lap counter was in Dallas.
The lap counter is here.
Yeah. I mean, listen, folks, you got to think in everyday life. Like that's concerning a little bit.
Beck said, I went to the Melbourne Hyrox yesterday. If the volunteers weren't there directing people, I think it would have been confusing.
Maybe some are on the video. Like when you see Hunter's videos, they all look the same to me. They look set up the same. Like it seems, I mean, Tia and James seem to do it just fine. Maybe it helps to have a person with you and talk it out. I don't know.
Watch.
I guess we'll see. I'll go do one and I'll end up getting lost and turned around. So who knows?
Are you planning to do one?
I'm sure I'll do one.
Would you want to
I've been
do your
wanting to.
first one as a individual or get a feel for it as a team?
I mean, I guess I wouldn't care. However I could get in, I would probably go individual. I can't. There's none like near me on a weekend that even makes sense. That's been the problem.
You would be awesome at it. I would love to see
Yeah,
what
you'd
your
be
time
great.
is.
I would love to do it. I actually had one of the girls in Training Think Tank commented because we had she follows my scores and I think she's a Hyrox athlete and I had said I wanted to and she's like, well, I have a ticket to Anaheim a couple weeks ago, whatever, in California. And I was like, yeah, I can't get to California. That's the problem. Like,
It's expensive.
yeah.
Chicago's not bad though, right? Don't they do them there?
Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was November 16th, which was my niece's 18th birthday when we went to the casino. And it's been that weekend every year. And it'd be tough for me to, I don't know. We'll see.
All right. We talked about IF3 a lot. I cannot find an active leaderboard anywhere.
I can't either. I've been looking.
When I go to the site I think it's at, I get a black screen. So maybe we'll talk about the winners of that next week. But there was a big piece of controversy that came out of the IF3. We talked earlier about them wanting to be an Olympic sport. And so they have adopted the policy on Russia, just like the Olympics did, to fall in line with what the Olympics are doing. Then the organizers in Budapest, Hungary made a mistake by putting the Russian flag on the name placards of the Russian athletes. And I think there was even some intro stuff announcing them as Russian athletes. Mm-hmm. That got a Lithuanian masters athlete upset. She then wore a shirt on the competition floor that said, "Make Russia small again." The organizers removed her from the competition. And then Lithuania decided to boycott the rest of the IF3 over that. The IF3 has come out with a statement saying that they apologized for the mistake that they had made and regret that had any influence on anything, and were saddened that Lithuania decided to boycott the IF3. But then it went on for the rest of the weekend. But I did want to report that news. Wow. Clock with just a lot of information. The IF3 is not an IOC member federation. I know they are trying to be. They are trying to be. I did find it listed as an international governing body under TAFISA, the Association for the International Sport for All. Yeah, they are trying to be recognized by the IOC. They have not reached that level yet, but that is the goal of this endeavor.
And I think it would be cool if they could.
It would be cool.
In addition to that, Legends happened this weekend. I was really sad not to be there.
I was too.
Where was it?
Tempe, Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona. That's right.
One, it snowed like hell here on Thursday and Friday. It would have been really nice to be in Tempe instead of Ohio. And I just love those athletes. I love hanging out with them. I love how they love to chat and talk during the competition week. It's just very laid back compared to the elite level. They still give 100% on the floor in every event and are cutthroat to win the competitions. But they're just really cool to hang out with, and their stories are freaking amazing. I'm just sad I wasn't there. But our girl Holly put out leaderboards the entire weekend for everybody to share. She also posted the schedules for every day. I hope we can get to a point where they are streaming again. Because I would like to watch these athletes.
How many athletes were there for theirs, per division?
So 40 for the younger division.
40, yeah.
So similar as
the games.
Yep.
as the Masters on games.
And I don't know if they had like last year they had teams and like even intermediate teams.
Yes.
So I don't know if they did any of that this year or not.
Do they have prize money?
They did not last year.
They did not. Yes, they did not last year. I have not heard. That would be a very good question if we could get one of the podium people to let us know. Maybe Corey knows.
Leonard said no teams this year.
Oh,
And
interesting.
No prize money.
And what?
No prize money.
I thought they posted that there would for sure be prize money this year.
I don't know. If they don't start paying prize money, I think.
I'm pretty sure there was a post like 2 months ago that said there would be prize money this year. Oof, that would be really bad.
Yeah.
I have the leaderboard.
Yeah, I have Holly's up and ready to go.
Okay.
Top 3.
Oh, no, I have the leaderboard for IF3.
Oh. Anybody, just individual men and women, give us the top 3.
So they have under 12 years old. Under 12 and then 13 to 14. That's crazy. So
You can put it in the private chat. Maybe I don't know how to
that's what I
share.
was trying to figure out. Colin Bossard won.
Do they have second and third or?
Yep. Tom Kingdon from UK, second. Len Postal from Germany, third. Victor Helsinghoff, Norway, fourth. Philip Lundqvist, Sweden, fifth. Andrew Anton, Christian Hartman, Victor Lundahl, Henrik Nygaard, and Jack Rosema was 10th. Nice. Good for him for going out there. Ladies open.
Jack Rosema was one of the ones that was part of the Army, right?
Yes.
He was, yeah.
I wonder if like they send
Who do you think won women's? Any guesses?
Norway.
No.
Lena Richter.
No.
Andrea Solberg.
From the open.
Oh, Miriam.
Yep. Mirjam van Roer was first.
She's good.
Yeah.
She's really good.
Ella Wilkinson, second. Nicole Heer, third. Julia Jacobson, fourth. Ingrid Tondell, Norway. Astrid Tin, Denmark, sixth. Emma Harving from the U.S., seventh. Julie Hugard, eighth. Anastasia Dodanova, ninth. And Camilla Solomonson-Hellman was 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some names in that top 10.
Yeah, there is.
Miriam's like very like she's got some wheelhouse stuff that like is extremely elite. Like she's just raw in the sport that like she just tweaks up a little stuff here and there. Like she's good. Yeah, it's good.
All right. So I'm going to pull up the Legends leaderboard.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through the top 3 in every division. Just because there's so many, I'm not going to go through more than that.
Corey says podium picks from Legends have no one with giant or less than giant checks.
They don't.
So they have never had a picture with checks when they've paid. Even when we got like 2,000 or 1,000 from the one at Mayhem, they don't do that. There's no. So if that's how you're looking to see if they paid, that's a bad way to confirm that.
So we're going to start with 65 plus on the women's side. Patricia McGill took first, Christine Long second, Denise Moore third, our girl Denise Moore, who is a frequent listener to the show. On the men's side, John Crockett first, John Guthrie second, Alan Boyce third. Then we go
How many events? 8?
9?
8 or 9.
They went Thursday through Sunday.
It's 4 days, and I think they do 3 events on one of the days. And the final event is a 2 points. It's a double score. Well, maybe they only did 2 each day. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's 9, but don't quote me on that. On the women's side for 60 to 64, Lynn Watt, another friend of the show. We've interviewed her in the past. Lucy Bishop, Marie Lesage. On the men's side, Ralph Bass, Gary Cottle, and Chris Bowman. Then on the 55 to 59, Cindy Hinkle, another friend of the show and best friend of Denise Moore. Tiu Mavar and Christy Looney. And then on the men's side, Andrew Denham, Rick Stefano, and Sean Marsh. 50 to 54, T. Gebby, Kim Van Zenten, Ada Koplinger. On the men's side, Corey Borleen, a friend of the show too, interviewed him. Vincent Voisin and Brian Cheek. On the women's side, and I was so excited to see this, because after a devastating ankle injury falling from a pegboard, Amy Shepperton, in her first time back on a competition floor since last Legends, takes the win again. So it's cool to see that. I chatted with her a little bit over the weekend, and it was cool to see her back out there doing so well. Sarah Blunk took second. Anne-Marie Foyce took third. On the men's side, Jason Grubb, who Corey Leonard beat in one workout, and he made me aware of that several times.
Okay, Corey.
Ryan Redkey, friend of the show, great dude, took second, and Joey Hoschman took third.
And sounds like Ryan was in first yesterday.
He was in there for a lot of the weekend.
Yeah.
In Jamie's division, the 40 to 44-year-old division, Carrie Mail took first, Kayla Johnson second, Stivalis Mendez took third, and on the men's side, CrossFit Games champion Chico Quesada took first, Austin Medford took second, and Matthew Axtman took third. And finally, in the 35 to 39-year-old division, on the women's side, Sammy Scorzelli took first, Megan Scales took second, Caitlin Teeger took third, and on the men's side, Mr. Scott Panchek, in his way back into competitive sports, took first, Brian Smith took second, and Michael French took third. Scott and his wife, Kristen, competed in the same competition. I think that is for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And she had some good events. I don't know how she finished on the overall leaderboard, but she had some top 10 finishes for sure. And that is Legends.
Thank you, Holly. Do they test?
No.
No. Lynn said, it's my second time watching Legends, and I can now predict there will always be a wall ball chipper.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a safe workout to do.
Corey said Scott Panchek is a cartoon character level of fitness.
Yeah.
So I do have one more little bit of a statement I wanted to make about the Masters and all this. So just for a moment. I may have a riff coming. We'll see how this comes out.
Let me get comfortable here.
Yeah.
I love the Masters community. I love everything about it. I love the athletes to death. This year, we worked really hard to promote the Masters divisions as much as we possibly could. Last year after Legends, we interviewed every champion of Legends on this show and put those out for view. We attended Legends. We did reels the entire time we were there. We didn't get paid. We didn't get any compensation for anything. We just did it out of the goodness of our heart. We then went to the Legend Masters CrossFit Games, where we did an 11-part documentary behind the scenes of the Masters CrossFit Games, which was my pride and joy. I loved every minute of doing it. It was probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done in the CrossFit space. And then we have Legends now that happened just recently. We put all this content out, and we hear the Masters say, nobody pays attention to us. Nobody does anything. Nobody puts it out. You realize I put all that content out, and barely a handful of people shared any of the content. you can't just think that other people are going to go out there, do all this stuff, and it's just going to magically grow your sport. You have to take part in it. You have to share the stuff that is out there promoting what it is that you want to grow. Legends did not share a single clip, reel, anything from the documentary that went out that we did at their competition to show how awesome these athletes were. Not a single reel, not a single post. The athletes, I can name the handful of athletes that share the information. And it's not like you would think that the 10th place finisher or the 20th place finisher. No, it's Will Moorad. It's Val Vobrel. They're the only people sharing this stuff. The people that have been in the sport forever and know how it grew back in the day. It doesn't just grow on its own. It grows because you share it, then somebody else shares it, then somebody else shares it. Because we all have many communities that you are trying to get to, community after community after community. And it doesn't happen unless you all share that information. Legends, you want to grow where spectators show up at your event, and so that you have money for prize money and you have money for a live stream, share the freaking information, the content that's out there promoting your sport, promoting your event that you're doing, that people have put out there for free. The same thing happened at Masters Fitness Championship. The Masters athletes, what happens is everybody's like, well, they don't share because they don't know how to use social media. That's a crock. I go through these people's social media and they're sharing reel after reel of their workouts and the things they're doing. And then they get to star in a documentary and it doesn't get shared. It's ridiculous. Why is Jason Grubb the most popular person in the Masters division? Because he shares everything of other masters. He puts out content constantly about himself. That's why he's the most popular athlete in the space. It is infuriating when you work as hard as you do and nobody has the time to just click share. I've done the hard work for you, Legends. I put you as a collaborator on a lot of this stuff. All you have to do is hit accept. If you don't want it to show on your page in the regular part, then hit share and put it to your story. It's the only place people are going to know what it is you do and what these athletes are and how cool they are. Until then, you're just going to work out in private, in secret, because nobody's going to know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm guessing Legends didn't even watch any of the 11-part series, which is unfortunate because I think they need to watch it. They need to figure out, and they need to work with you for access to figure out how to make this better in the way that whatever their vision for it is too, collaborate with you. The fact that you couldn't get in the back was an issue. And they need to see that. They need to see, well, this could be better if we had a spot for Scott or interviews or anything here. They need to watch the whole series and then work with you.
You can see it on day one when I had full access and I could walk right up to the athlete and talk. And did you see one pissed off athlete? No. I was respectful of everybody's space. I didn't interrupt the lift. I didn't, interrupt a work. If they were stretching, I may have gone over and talked to them.
Yeah.
But then when you restricted my access, I had to yell at them from the side and hope they would come over to me.
Right. And then there's times where the audio is not as crisp as it could be because of situations like that. So yeah, I mean, was it perfect? No, but you had to do what you could do with what you had access to. And so if they watch it and set up a game plan with you, I mean, we could get somewhere where this could be pretty freaking sweet.
Well, and the crazy thing is, none of it was bashing them as an organization.
No.
This is a very candid, open conversation, and nobody bashed you.
That's what I was to say. Like, if they watch it, they would want to share it because it paints the event in a very good light. Almost everyone's like very well run. Can't believe how smooth they're getting all these heats through. Like, it's all good, and that kind of stuff needs to be seen so other people are like, wow, that sounds like a good event. I kind of want to go to that one. That's the stuff they need to share.
Yeah. There was a small number of constructive criticisms, but usually followed by like, hey, but I understand this is year one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So riff over. That's just it. It's frustrating when you work this hard. And the thing is, I love these athletes so much, and I've developed relationships with so many of them, and I want it to succeed. I don't want Masters to go away. I want it to be, and that's what made me excited about the WFP, including age groups.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're actually saying, let's keep Masters a part of this. If we're reading the tea leaves correctly.
Well, yeah, we need more information on that aspect of it for sure.
Because I think what has been released with the CrossFit Games season is diminishing what the age groups are. And getting closer to a sole focus of just the elite athletes. Which is surprising that they would be that direction with WFP including them than the other way around.
Did I miss something?
Well, when you eliminate all the money from quarterfinals and all of that stuff, what are you going to use to fund a Masters games and a teens games? And there's less, I don't know, because I mean, that stuff is never shared. We don't know how much money was actually given to Legends or Pitt to operate. But what we do know is the prize purse did not change from 23 to 24.
True.
And now it's probably going to change from 24 to 25.
That will be sad.
And that's where I'm saying is the less of a focus. Because the minute you drop the prize purse, the minute some people are going to say it's not worth it for me to do anymore.
Yeah, it'll turn into the Legends Classic, which, I mean, you can see on the leaderboard it's just not all the athletes. Right. Because they didn't pay last year. So some of your top athletes are not going to go back and spend their money to go to that event when they're not really getting anything.
Like, I'm looking at that for me next year, and I'm like, oh, are you guys getting paid? No. All right, check. I'm not going. Like,
right.
I'm not going to go pay $2,000 to go there, hotel, flight, food, and there's no chance of me making any money back.
And if the WFP has a age group division and they pay out the winners, I think that's a chunk they're going to take away. And we don't know any of that. Wouldn't it be freaking awesome if there was a Masters League with a pro card?
Oh, that'd be freaking sweet.
Now, we're probably way ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. That's not in the budget until this thing takes off. But yeah, that would be sweet.
Right.
Even if it's like 3 per age group that and then you have 7 challengers. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Well, we have gone over now because of my rant, my riff.
Needed.
But we're one of probably the only podcast that really talks about Masters all the time. So it's like people need also to share or and subscribe to this one too, so more people can share and see the content of the Masters as well.
Yeah, I agree. I've been sitting on that for a couple months because it was really frustrating when I would tag all these people, all these entities, and nobody shared.
You feel better? Got that off your chest?
Feel a little bit better.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was a good riff.
All right. Got to get back to doing a couple of those every now and then. And you guys too. You've had some good ones in the past. We still have the buzzer. Just you saw that the effect. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, Corey shares a lot of stuff.
Corey does. He'll
Corey
share my
shares a lot
stuff.
about this show.
Yeah.
He shows a lot about the master stuff. Corey is our dude. He is a honorary member of this team. So yeah, we love Corey. And there's a handful of athletes that shared a lot of stuff, and I love them for that. And they know who they are. But with that, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. If you're a listener, make sure you leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify, and leave a comment. Leave a comment. That's how the algorithm grows. If there's anything that we talked about that you have something you want to voice, Lynn is awesome at giving us feedback on what we talk about during the 90 minutes we do this show, and I love seeing what she says. And we're getting more and more people doing that. Plus, in the coming weeks, we're going to have prizes we're going to give away based on stuff in the comments. So make sure you stay tuned for that. With that, thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We will see everybody next time on Sunday Night CrossFit Talk. Bye.